Psychoanalyst Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Imagine we all entered this world wounded. In the mother's womb, absorbing all of her emotions and pain, her trauma, her memories. And not only are we absorbing our mothers, but we're also absorbing our grandmother and our great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, and the lineage continues. So here we are, this perfectly beautiful baby just out of the womb, carrying all of this trauma from our ancestral lineage, as well as our mother. It's our soul's mission on this earth to heal our pain in order to grow. It is our energetic obligation. It's as though we have this imprint from our ancestors, much like our DNA, that has been imprinted into us on a cellular level. And when we move forward with this energy, we have to learn how to utilize it and how to heal from it, so that we not only heal our ancestral lineage, but we can also heal the future generations of our own lineage. When we embark on this type of work, it's a sacred journey. It's a journey that takes commitment. And when we do this work together, it creates this energetic force, this binding force, much stronger than just our own. And profound healing can occur from this. So, what is a trigger? A trigger is something that creates an unwanted feeling or emotion, something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Emotions like when we feel triggered, it will give us a sense of sadness or anxiousness, fear, frustration. All of these different types of emotions that we don't necessarily know where they came from. But we have this instant feeling within us of, oh no, this is transpiring. What do I do with this? Have you ever heard someone say, I felt triggered, or this happened and it triggered me this week? Or maybe you've said, I'm feeling really triggered right now, and you're not really sure why or where it came from. I have clients that will often come to me, whether privately or in my circles. I love to operate in circle. And they'll sometimes say to me, you know, I really felt triggered and I didn't know what to do with that. So I just went and grabbed a bowl of ice cream, or they went down and grabbed a burger. And really what's happening, and although ice cream has its magical essence to it, it's only temporary. It's only a temporary fix. So it's important for us to go deeper into the self, go deeper into what is it about whatever just happened that made me feel that way. Sometimes people can get triggered by a celebratory event, like a wedding or an anniversary. Or maybe there is a photo album and they're going through pictures and they see a photo that triggers an emotion in them. Or maybe a song. That's what happens for me. A song can take me right back to a time in high school. I was dating this football player. He was handsome and smart. He was the brooding type. And we dated for about 3 years through high school. But he was very emotionally unavailable. And eventually, the relationship turned abusive. And although that took its course, I didn't walk away right away. The abuse actually put me in the hospital at one point. And I found myself protecting this person because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. Well, when that relationship finally came to an end, because I did walk away, my next two future relationships that were short-lived had a very similar dynamic. They were unavailable emotionally, and they had abusive tendencies, which left me feeling shameful and unworthy and not good enough. I remember those feelings vividly. I mean, a song can take me right back to that moment so long ago. So I had to do the deeper work to find out what was that about me, because I thought it was just them. Two things happen when we're triggered. Either we are attracting the pain or we're projecting it. And we do that in relationships as well. Either we project our pain or we attract it. And most often, the pain that we've attracted in the person that we've attracted it to, we're projecting our pain back onto them, assuming that they're the ones that created the pain for us or the trauma. When in essence, it was created at a much earlier point in our lives, or even beyond that. When I did the inner work, I had to go back into my childhood. I had to go back into a point in my life where I was feeling deep pain. And I finally made the connection. The reason why I was attracting these types of relationships was because I did have neglect and abuse in my childhood that was unhealed. So I had to make it my mission to heal those aspects of myself so that I no longer attracted it and I no longer projected it. And that took some time. Doing our shadow work is a difficult process because our triggers live in our shadow. And the shadow self is the darker part of our being. Martin Luther King said, "It's only in the darkness we can see the light." So I had to go deep inside. And when we do shadow work, we have to go into the darkness of our soul, into the subconscious or unconscious mind, and pull out those things that have been dormant for years. And we have to pull them out and allow ourselves to experience the emotion of what that was for us at that time, so that we can now look at, why are we attracting these types of qualities into our life? It gives us a new framework of what to deal with. And it also begins to lessen the power and control that it has over our life. When I did the work around the shame and the guilt of my childhood, it allowed me to reassess what I was worthy of. And that was a powerful thing. In our subconscious mind, we have archives of information. We have information that is not only from our ancestors, but it's from our past lives as well. Our unconscious mind holds a wisdom that we actually have access to. We have access to tap into it or retrieve it when we begin to do the work. But how do we do that work? How do we get into our unconscious mind? Well, we have our conscious mind, which is the place that we operate from daily. The conscious mind is our egoic mind. It's the part of ourselves that assesses and judges. It's the critical thinker. It's the part of ourselves that is fear-based because we are judging. Our conscious mind, our egoic mind, is in a constant state of flux. It's always active. It never shuts down. So there are all of these thoughts and all of this activity and perceptions. And our conscious mind, our egoic mind, the cognitive self, has created its own reality based on my own personal experiences, if you will. So whatever my experiences have been, my conscious mind has created a story around it. So when I begin to have this trigger take place, the song taking me back to my childhood or my high school with my high school boyfriend, I can actually feel in my body the trigger, where it's located. And for me, I can feel it right in my tummy. And sometimes there's a tightening in my chest as well. And you may even feel the physical, visceral sensation of the trigger before you even understand that you're being triggered. Our body is programmed. It's like a muscle memory in our physical being that holds all of this information that we no longer remember. So when it starts to happen, and I work this way with my clients or in circle, when they start to feel this physical sensation, I ask them, where is it located? What does it feel like? And can you recall the first time you felt this way? And it's amazing how this process can shift us out of the current moment and into a place of trying to recognize it and often quickly finding where it's located. But it does take a little bit of time because you have to be willing to go into that space. And when you begin to feel triggered, what I like to do is take a deep breath, because in breathing, it gives the space between ourselves and what we're feeling and the reaction, because we're reacting to whatever is happening. So we have that pause, and it allows us to recenter. It allows us to get back into ourselves for a moment so that we can reassess. In doing this work, in realizing what my trigger was, and there are others that I have that have been an ongoing process, but in doing the work, what I was able to do was heal a trauma of mine that no longer controls my being. It no longer controls my day-to-day. It no longer controls if my attracting this type of person into my life. And nor do I project the pain anymore, because I've allowed myself to acknowledge it and heal from it. And that's the important part. The very first step in all of this is the awareness that something exists. And when we can be aware that something exists, it then gives us the opportunity to move forward with it. But the awareness is just the awareness. You have to do the work around it. In the shadow world, it's like a long-term relationship with yourself. It's a process that takes time. It takes patience. It takes forgiveness and understanding with yourself, because there's no one else that can do this work for you. It's only you that can do the work. So when you begin to embark on the work, you have to keep in mind that there will be the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, because you're learning about yourself. You're rediscovering aspects about yourself that you may not have been aware of. In the unconscious mind, which is where the shadow lives, it holds 95% of our brain. The unconscious mind is 95% non-active, if you will. It's untouched. Our conscious mind is the 5% of our brain that we utilize. So if we're only utilizing 5% of our brain, what are we doing with the other 95%? What does it hold? When we allow ourselves to go in, we're connecting with our soul. We're connecting with the wisdom of our ancestors. We're connecting with old traumas so that we can allow them to come to light and heal. When we're operating from our conscious mind, the egoic mind, the false self, the ego is considered the false self. When we're operating from that aspect of who we are, we can never access this part of ourselves. So there comes a place and a point in time that we have to surrender. And when we can surrender, it gives us permission to go into these darker aspects. I'm not saying it's easy, but it does require a commitment. And it's not something that has to be done every single day, but by becoming aware of the trigger, by becoming aware of the emotion that's brought about by the trigger, whether it's anger or frustration or sadness or guilt or shame, you'll be able to easier access where it belongs and why it continues to show up in your life. When we're working in this type of dynamic, this energy field, a lot of emotion comes through us. And when the emotion comes through us, it allows for great healing. Have you ever had the sensation that you just want to cry and you don't know why, but yet you fight away the tears? This is about not fighting the tears. It's about allowing the emotion to move through you. In my circles and when working with my clients, I use the analogy of be a buffalo. And when buffalo sense a storm coming, they hold their ground, where all the other animals around run from the storm. The buffalo time it, and they go towards the storm. And the reason they go towards the storm is because it's the quickest way through, while the other animals are being chased by the storm. So in doing the work of learning about your triggers, what's triggering you, becoming more aware of where are you feeling it in your body, what emotion is being elicited, and can you identify how that makes you feel? Then you have the ability to go inside, to do this deep, deep inner work that allows for your soul to bring about the darker aspects into light. That's the magic of what we're meant to do here. In our time and space on Earth, we are being asked, especially right now, especially with the recent events this year, this portal of energy has expanded, which has allowed us to activate this portal of healing so that we can quickly recover from it. And it's happening on such a global collective level that if we choose to go in and allow this vibrational healing to transmute what it is that we're going through energetically and collectively, we're healing not only ourselves, but our planet on a very vast, quick level. It is about being honest with ourselves. There was a long time, and I'm sure you know people who absolutely refuse to see the truth in something because it's so much safer in their own perception of their mind. And if we are only operating from the perception of our mind, that's the false self, right? That's the egoic part of our cognitive development. But when we can sit with ourselves and look at our behavior, look at why we do something, what is it about this situation that I keep going towards or that keeps coming to me? It allows for deep, deep transformation. Healing occurs when we pull ourselves out of the darkness. It occurs when we bring these things to light. In doing so, I encourage a support system because the work isn't always easy. I encourage a circle of help, a circle of support. In my circles, we are a full support system for one another. And what's really beautiful about it is I'm able to witness the experience. I'm able to witness the transformation because there's such a beautiful power around it. And even working one-on-one with my clients, I work in circle format because of the energetic power around it. Because I bring in ancient traditions into our modern day, and that's how I like to work with clients. So in this space, it really allows for us to visit the aspects of ourselves that we refuse to see, that we are too afraid to acknowledge, that has been lying dormant for so long. In the course of this journey that you're on, or you're embarking on, or wherever you're at on it, it's important to do what I call check-ins. And it allows for us to visit how we're feeling in a moment. And it's an easy process. And what I tell my clients to do is set an alarm, and at least once a day. At least once, or maybe even 3 times a day, up to 3 times a day. And if it's 3 times a day, I would do it at the top of the morning, noon, and in the evening. And setting it to a very soft type of a reminder or an alarm, because sometimes even alarms trigger certain emotions from people. A trigger can make somebody feel like they're behind, or I'm sorry, an alarm can make somebody feel like they're behind when really they're right where they need to be, but then their heart starts racing and they're having this visceral physical reaction to an alarm going off. They're already in panic mode. So keeping that in mind, when you do choose to set the alarm, set it to something that's pleasant, that you enjoy. So I'm going to ask you to just take a moment and let's do this exercise together. The first thing I'd like you to do is, and you can do this during your check-ins, but we're going to do this together, is just pause for a moment and allow yourself to take a deep breath in. Breathing in deeply and exhale. Good. And now allow yourself to reflect on how your day has been so far. Have you had anything that recently triggered you or made you feel an unwanted emotion? Good. So what I'd like you to do right now is take your pen and paper, and I'd like you to free write. As you're free writing, there's no judgment. No one's going to see your paper. This is all you. Don't worry about punctuation, run-on sentences. This is all strictly for you. And not only that, because no one's going to see it, it's about being honest with yourself. So just writing down what it was that recently triggered you and trying to identify the first time you felt that. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that right now. I'll give you about another minute to write, just allowing yourself to free write. Okay. So what I'd like you to do right now is at the bottom of that paper, I'd like you to write all negativity, all negativity is transmuted into love and light. All negativity is transmuted into love and light. Go ahead and then sign your name and then write, "So it is done." That gives an imprint into what you've just written. Good. And you can put that off to the side. You can revisit it. You can burn it. You can throw it away. It doesn't matter, but it's an opportunity for you to begin assessing how you're feeling. So again, I encourage you to do daily check-ins with yourself at least once a day and take a pause, take a breath in, and then ask yourself the question, how am I feeling? Did anything transpire for me up until this moment? And then you can do that throughout the day if you like, because it keeps you in alignment with how you're feeling and it keeps you accountable to your emotions. Carl Jung said, "I'm not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." In essence, what he's saying is you're not your pain. You have the power to heal from your pain. I invite you and I welcome you to embark on this journey of healing, to go into the darker aspects of yourself. Be brave enough and loving enough to go into yourself so that you can heal from the wounds that have been suppressed for so long. It's in that space that you're going to be able to heal on a grand, greater level. And it takes courage and it takes commitment. We are only confined by our own limitations. Allowing yourself to expand yourself is going to expand your experience here. I know you want to live a life of freedom. So do I. And I support you on this journey. And I encourage you to find a friend or a buddy or a circle and join it so that you receive the support system during this time of going into your shadow self. I invite you right now to take a moment and join me in a very short meditation, which will also allow you to clear yourself and ground, whether it's in the morning or it's at night, at any point in the day. You could even be in your car and you're about to walk into a meeting. This meditation will recenter you and you'll feel clearer. So allow yourself to get comfortable. And take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take another deep breath in. And exhale. One more. Breathe in. And exhale. In the center of your forehead, see a golden bright light the size of a dime. Allow yourself to lock on that light. Now see that light expand. And as it expands, it's removing any debris in your headspace. As it expands even more, it's removing all things other than peace. Now this light expands the full space of your head. Now this light drops down all the way through the base of your spine. Your whole spine is lit up with this beautiful golden warm light. Now this light expands to the front of you and the back of you and the sides of you. Now see this light expand beyond your body and beyond your head, removing anything that does not belong in your energy field. And as it removes all things that do not belong in your field of energy, roots begin to grow from the base of your spine. And they penetrate through the earth's surface, all the way to the center of the earth. And it locates this beautiful healing crystal. Wrap your roots around this crystal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You are rooted and you are grounded. This energy from this crystal now runs all the way up through your spine, through your energy field. Your head is clear. And you are grounded. Take a deep breath in. And release. You can gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. I support you on your journey of finding your triggers and healing them for your own true freedom. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Much gratitude. Everyone have a beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of the talks and our keynote speaker. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.